What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the April 13th, 2024 edition of the SmackDown LowDown. So I found out they did not do an episode last week. I was wondering when I recorded Raw Talk on Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever I put it up. I was wondering if they did do a SmackDown LowDown last week, and they did not. They were all in Philadelphia for Mania Weekend. I think they've done one the last couple of years over Mania Weekend. They didn't, so we were back here this week. That helped me out, so I didn't have to go back and watch the show and review it and whatever, so that was nice. On this show, we had Scott Stanford, Megan Moran in the studio breaking down what I thought was a very good SmackDown on Friday night. Opening up the episode, replaying the Cody Rhodes promo, addressing the audience and his potential challengers for Backlash to his WWE Championship. They also run down the bigger headlines from Friday's show to kick off this episode, before replaying Naomi's win over Tiffany Stratton. It wasn't a number one contenders match, but Naomi did say before that, if I beat Tiffany, I'll feel worthy of challenging Bayley for the championship, so that match goes down next week. We hear from Naomi backstage. Naomi says that she's going to keep Stratton in check. That's one of the things that she's going to continue to do going forward. But she also plans on giving Bayley her best in their match next Friday on SmackDown and teases winning the championship. So they preview Bayley versus Naomi for next Friday's SmackDown. They also replay the Great Bloodline segment with Solo Sikoa exiling Jimmy Uso from the group and welcoming him Tama Tonga from New Japan Pro Wrestling, which was really cool. Scott Stanford says that Solo kind of went into business for himself there. That's what he said, and I agree. They also kind of tease how Roman Reigns will respond, and we may not see him for a while, but when he does come back, how will he respond to what we saw on Friday night, among everything else that's bound to happen between now and then? And they also say that Jimmy he should probably be calling Jay soon. That's what Scott said. And I could see why he would say that. Everyone else was saying that on Twitter last night. I hope we don't get that soon. Jay would be a fucking idiot to accept Jimmy back anytime soon. The man made his life a living hell for months, cost him countless championships, and now they're just going to reunite. The bloodline is no longer Jay's problem. Roman Reigns is no longer the champion. It does not matter that Jay... It just would be stupid right away for Jimmy to accept Jimmy back. That's not his problem. It just doesn't make sense right now anyway. Down the road maybe, but it's inevitable. I just don't want it to happen anytime soon. They replay the LA Knight win over Escobar and Lashley to advance in the number one contenders WWE title tournament that kicked off last night. We hear from LA Knight backstage, and he reiterates he beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and he will become number one contender and win the championship. There was a lot more to what he said than that, but that was basically the bare bones of his promo. They then replay the Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair tag team win over Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Megan Morant calls them a dream team, which they are. Probably they didn't say this here, but the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, I would have to imagine, are in their sights and their immediate future. She calls them the stormiest tag team ever. Like, a storm is coming, the EST, dumb fucking name. I hope they don't go with that name. Apparently, stormiest is a word. I typed it up here in my notes and it didn't go off. Like, oh, that's not a word. No, stormiest is apparently a word. So hopefully they don't use stormiest team, but maybe something along those lines. I don't know. So then they replay the main event, AJ Styles beating Rey Mysterio with a great finish, and Kevin Owens in a triple threat to advance to next week's number one contenders matchup against LA Knight. We hear from AJ Styles backstage. He says that he's going to put, this time, LA Knight in a hospital after locking him in the calf crusher. And then he's going to go after Cody Rhodes, and that's pretty much the extent of what he says. He also previewed, or rather praised, Rey and Owens, before beating them. He's just said, Rey Mysterio's a legend, and Kevin Owens isn't too shabby himself, and I beat both of them in the same night to advance the next week. So a nice feather in the cap of AJ, who really hasn't done a whole lot of note lately, so I thought that was cool. But they preview Knight and AJ for next week's show, and also announced that there will be they said this on SmackDown, but they preview the fatal four-way match on next week's SmackDown to determine the next number one contenders to the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now that the belts have been split up, we have a whole bunch of teams chasing those championships. So it's going to be the Profits, AOP, New Catch Republic, and Legado del Fantasma. Angel Umberto specifically. So those matches you can look forward to on next week's show, in addition to Bayley and Naomi for the WWE Women's Championship. So that was SmackDown LowDown in a nutshell for April 13th, 2024. Good show here, recapping SmackDown, previewing next week, which I'm also looking forward to. Thank you guys for checking out my review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Have an awesome one, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.